have been attempts to bring down craft, that we've acted offensively against non-human craft.
There have been instances, and there are certain techniques.
Has the U.S. government become aware of actual evidence of extraterrestrial, otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence?
I think when the American people see some of the evidence that this individual has, you're going to leave some people scratching their heads.
The US government will do anything to keep these secrets safe.
My work has included the recovery of downed UAP of non-human origin.
How long have you known this secret about unidentified anomalous phenomena being of non-human origin?
For more than 10 years.
And at no stage were you ever subsequently told that the craft was of non-human origin?
I will tell you that during this process, over the last couple of years, it's been confirmed to me by ranking members of the UAP task force that what we were working with that night was in fact NHI, and it was not a unique experience.
Hello everybody and welcome to this very, very special edition of the Unidentified Anomalous podcast, teamed up with UAP Studies. Today we've got me joining you. Hello, I'm Digby Furneaux, and my co-host Tom Thompson, as well as Jason from UAP Studies, the Astral, and also the amazing Jason Sands. This is going to be one hell of a show.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to be here with all you guys. We have so many cool people in the chat because I'm seeing different countries. I saw Slovakia, I see Germany, Australia. Oh my god, that's so oh my god, there's so many people from Twitter, X.
It's amazing.
Wow. Hello everyone, and this, listen, man, I couldn't pay attention at work at all today. I left a half hour early because all my managers were gone. This was just like way too important. Poland, I'm Polish, so salute to you. But listen, I just want to say to all of you guys here in the chat and you guys here, I love you guys. You guys are like a distant family for me, and I appreciate the fact that we're spending tonight together. It means a lot to me personally. I'm being very, very sincere when I say that.
Absolutely. And what's great, and we have really good news for everybody here, as long as it doesn't get taken down, we're going to do an hour of pre-chat with all of us and everything, and then it looks like we have figured out some technical issues and we will be able to show the interview on here as long as nobody takes it down and we're not doing anything that we shouldn't be able to do. I know that anybody outside the US cannot watch NewsNation online, so stick with us and you'll be able to watch the whole interview with
We're going to try
8 p.m. Eastern time.
We're definitely going to try. Also, I saw a comment in the chat, like, I have Polish blood. I am not from Poland. I'm actually mostly Italian, but I'm still Polish.
You're just a good mix.
God's sake. Jason from UAP Studies is here. Tyler the Astral is here. And Mr. Jason Sands himself is here. Oh my God. What an evening. What a weekend. Where do we start, guys? Because I don't know where to start. So much.
It's kind of like Christmas for ufologists and experiencers and whistleblowers alike, you know. And I think it's sort of like I know we're fighting back. I think people like Ross Coulthard and the on the journalists and all that are on the ground, like, wow, what a fight. Keep in mind the Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? We're all Star Wars fans here. The Empire does strike back, but it kind of feels like Return of the Jedi, with some footage of the Death Star blowing up or something. It feels like that,
Yeah, it does.
It feels awesome.
Analogy with UAP.
Astral was just talking about this before we started because there's and Jason said he wanted to broach this as well. So maybe that's a good starting point. We could talk about all the jockeying that's been going on between Stephen Greer starting a new podcast, like Elizondo has a podcast and put out a statement. Astral, why don't we start with you and then we'll go to Jason, because you guys were kind of talking about this a few minutes before we started. What do you make of all of the positioning of the chess pieces that we've seen over the last week? Because there's been a lot. I think your mic maybe. muted.
Look at me,
He
bro.
did
Look
that
at me.
earlier too.
New setup,
Love it.
rookie mistakes are happening all over. But
great mic.
I'm super psyched about this, by the way. Earlier today, I was watching a basketball game the UNC Tar Heels were playing, and I'm watching it on like YouTube live, and all of a sudden the commercial comes on for the thing tonight, and I'm like, bro, this is another level. Like during the middle of a like something that I'm just watching. So it was very cool to see. This week has been very interesting, though, man. Stephen Greer positioned himself and started a podcast like Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, hinted that something was going to happen in terms of whistleblowers coming out publicly. And this is just this week. There's been a lot of rumblings that something's coming up in terms of somebody coming out, whistleblower, what the details are. I think, we're kind of kept under wraps per se, but Greer comes out and says 72 hours, we're going to get a group of whistleblowers. Less than 4 hours from that, Don Trump Jr. and Elizondo and Cohart do a live stream on Rumble and announce that they have NewsNation. What's basically happening in an hour is they announced the timing of that. So that happened. And then also keep in mind that Jesse Michaels before that had a new whistleblower as well come forward who had talked about interacting with high level technology that was taken through an underground base, whether or not people really are going to look more at that now as well. But it's still another whistleblower. It's kind of like dominoes are being put into play. So it's been a very active week. It's been a very exciting week for the UFO topic. I think, man, I've never been more excited in the last couple of years. And it feels a lot reminiscent of what happened with Grush, because I think the professionalism of how Cohart put all this together is people are really seeing. And I'm just really excited about all this, dude. Glad I'm here.
A couple of people are saying, where can they watch the interview? For those of you that have joined just now, we are going to be trying to stream it here. So stick with us. So from 8 p.m. Eastern time, so that's in about 50 minutes, we will be streaming it here. So please stay with us. And we're going to have to figure something out here because we've got two Jasons. So who wants to be J1 and who wants to be J2?
I'll be J1.
I'll be J-Rod.
Well, I mean, when we... I thought of this morning, actually, while driving to work. I was like, I think we'll call Jay Sands Jay and the other one Jason, because I'm used to calling Jason Sands Jay, like,
that's true,
behind the scenes. So Jay is below me, and then to this side is Jason, or Jason G. We'll figure it out, for God's sake. This is so difficult. I quit.
It's beautiful to be in a room with other Jason, because it was a common name, in the 70s and 80s. Jason was so common, and some people have never heard the name before, and it blows my mind. The lady who made my coffee at a coffee shop had never heard the name Jason before, which blew my mind. Like,
try being called Digby.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. Digby, you win. I'm not complaining.
So that's hilarious. I love that. Like, I have the most common name probably like in the history of mankind, next to like Michael. So now,
big shout out to Holly. Sorry, Holly's.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Holly, because Holly's been putting out the word to all the UK friends, all the Holly maniacs out there. We love Holly here on UA Pod. She's been letting people know that we're going to attempt to stream it here. Now, I also saw in the chat too that they may be streaming it on YouTube. To the NewsNation YouTube channel. I hope so, because that's all we really wanted to do. We're not trying to jump off of anybody else's work or anything, but when we saw how many other people were going to have maybe some trouble watching it, I'm like, let's try to set something up where they can. Like, we're happy to, stay demonetized for this stream. We just want everybody to be able to experience this and kind of see everything. I want to get to Jason Sands, Jay. I want to hear your thoughts. You had some interesting opinions as we were setting everything up about what's about to take place on NewsNation, and again, some of the chess pieces that have been moving around. Like, feel free, man. Shoot off all your thoughts.
Yeah, I've just been watching it all. I'm kind of excited, just like everybody else. As you know, it's been a fairly lonely walk for just about all the whistleblowers up until this month. Now it's raining whistleblower folks coming out of the woodwork, and I'm very happy to see that some of them are getting braver. Some of them are feeling more comfortable. I think they're starting to see even social media becoming more of a mainstream rather than appearing like on one of the big news media channels. So it's really good to see all that kind of growing, and it shows me that the people are making a big difference in this. There's a voice there that people have been waiting for, and I think it's really good to see some of the figureheads in the UAP business as well coming and populating the spaces on X and other places. So initially, yeah, I've seen this. I have to agree that there's been some jockeying. I'm not sure. We'll see during this first show at about an hour from now, just what everybody has to say on this first round, and then I'm sure we're going to have lots of other commentaries to go through after that. So I'm really happy to stick through that as much as we can, as long as we don't have technical difficulties, to kind of continue our discussion and wrap it all up after everything.
Jason, there's a lot of love for you in the chat this evening, which is so great to see. And I just want to say, I think you did an absolute stellar job earlier this week with the podcast that you were on. I just want to say, great job. Really proud of you, man. Very proud to call you a very close friend. What's really interesting in the background here is that we've always thought that there's a Lou camp and a Greer camp, which obviously there is, but there seems to be some cooperation going on in the background at the moment, whether they meant to or not. But you've had Greer talking about this event for the last month or so, and then it turns out that it's Ross Coulthart presenting it. Lou's attached to Ross Coulthart quite a lot as well. So what's going on here? What does everybody think's going on in the background? Has there been some cooperation?
I know I've been getting very busy, so there's been at least a lot of interest, at least in my life, and I think the same thing has been happening with other folks that I know in the community that are big names, that they've been thinking about who they could bring forward, because everybody, as I probably know my cadre of whistleblowers. Grush has his, you've got Lou has another batch, you've got Greer, and we have never really spoken together in a space, other than very rarely do we do that. And I think that is kind of a driving force here, is that I'm seeing some more in the background conversations, in these kind of probably private conversations with these whistleblowers, and I'm very glad that they're starting to become more emboldened. And I think the more that we have them coming out, the more threads we can pull together. And that's really where my excitement begins, because I've never claimed to know everything about the program. It's going to take a group of us to put that together for folks. And I think that's really what the public is after, is that firsthand knowledge of, okay, we don't want the classified stuff, but we just want to know, are we really not alone or not? Kind of all of you guys together, hopefully the whistleblowers can all together, push something out there that really, really sticks to the wall and makes people think. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, me too. And I love the fact that just starting to feel like there's some sort of spirit of cooperation going on behind the scenes, in whatever form that may be. Because
a lot to me.
We're not going to get this done otherwise. If everybody's too busy fighting with each other, we can't fight for disclosure, right?
Right.
100%.
Yeah, I think there are some very maybe some micro relationships that are being built right now between, like you say, each of the groups within the UAP field. And I think because of the discussions, there are now some more threads being pulled, and more people are willing to talk to each other. Whereas before, it was very difficult to do that. Everybody was hush-hush. So I think, yeah, you're correct. We're starting to see that behind-the-scenes type collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah,
personally.
you're seeing that more within probably the military whistleblowers are coming forward, that unity, that, hey, let's have each other's back. But we're not seeing that in our community of people who are researching this. There are people that steal other people's work. I mean, that's obviously been an issue yesterday on X, mentioning a bit about that. And the thing is, the idea to remain relevant, especially when we're all competing right now for everybody's attention with these disclosure and these, get-togethers. I mean, when I first started in the podcasting, there was a few of us that did it, And then you guys, started this really amazing program. And now it's like every time I blink, there's a new podcast that just came out. It's like, well, they didn't, necessarily tread the water the way that we did. But it's great to see that there's enough interest now that, if you search up UAP podcast, UFO podcast, you're going to get a plethora of different options. They're not all great, but the problem is that we fight each other. We call each other idiots or try to discredit each other's work, which to me is like, we should be unified. If we expect people like Jason Sands and this gentleman coming out, or Jake, I believe his name is, coming out later today, if we expect them to work together on this, we got to work together. We got to get our acts together as well. So it's nice to see, but the whole David or Stephen Greer thing, again, trying to remain relevant, sort of losing the control over it as it's going everywhere. Everybody has something to say. There's new whistleblowers, and the relevance of it is what people want to try to remain in a spotlight as long as possible, because it's been profitable for some people, right?
Yeah, no question about that. The profitability, and look, let's be honest here. When I make a video, or Digby makes a video, or Astral hosts a space, or whatever we do, right? Like when there is some sort of income that comes in from that, yeah, it's nice. Like I would rather be able to spend all my time dedicated to this. I have a very busy life. I work a very rigorous day job where, there's times where it's like I don't even have the opportunity to even check the time on my phone because I'm up to my head in customers and I'm moving furniture and things of that nature. So it's, look, grifting is when you want to go out and tell fairy tales that are nonsense, and you're going to try to sell somebody, snake oil or something, and it's not going to work and that your story's BS. And then you're profiting off of it and you don't care. There's no moral compass there. What we do is very different. We have a genuine passion and interest in this subject. I'm an experiencer. Digby's an experiencer. Jay's an experiencer. Like, this is something that has touched all of us. And look at all the people that are in this chat right now. Look at all the people from Dubai and Ireland and all over the world. We're all here because we're all united in this, right? Like, there's always like a little bit of not even a little, but a lot, a battle going on to be up front, to get this person on this show, to get this shout out, to do this. But at the end of the day, I still feel like a tiny little child almost standing on like the edge of a cliff looking out into the universe, just wondering like, well, where am I going to go when I die? Where are all the family members and friends that I've lost? Like, why am I here? Why did I wake up in this body one day? It comes back to that. And that's what keeps me here. And this is why I do what I do with all of you. It's not the fear of the unknown. It's a love for the unknown.
Yeah. And I also like to point out, just to say hi to everybody. It's been, poking all of the buttons and saying, good things about me and everything else, all of you guys as well. You're all stellar. And I think there's something to be said that I think the whistleblowers that are probably coming forward are seeing that kind of support. And they're seeing that what used to be a very scary thing to do now, that stigma is kind of dying away. And even, the critics in the UAP field are starting to realize, they want to see the truth as well. And I think, and I hope that everybody starts to come together even all the more. Because the stigma is hopefully going to be broken here, and we might get to a different place by the end of the year. That would be awesome.
Somebody's just put, sorry, Miss SpaceX has just put, they're not looking at the chat here on X. Yeah, some of the chat, it doesn't come through on here. So if you do want to get involved in the chat, guys, please head over to one of the YouTube channels, either Tom's channel or my channel. Head over there and then you can get involved in the chat. I'm trying my best to put everybody's comments up. If you have any questions or anything you want to mention, guys, please put it in the chat and we will try and address it as best that we can. The chat is coming thick and fast, though, so I'm just trying to keep up with it.
We don't want to put slow mode on, though, because that feels,
Yes.
I hate slow mode.
Is that an option?
Yeah, you can slow the chat down, yeah.
On YouTube it is, yeah, for sure.
But let's think about this. I mean, we did David Grush the other year. That was a big thing. Thank you, Wes Decker, for the super chat there.
Yeah,
Cheers,
thank you, Wes.
Very much. Thank you. Yeah, does this feel bigger to you than David Grush? Because for me, there seems to be like I'm full of a lot more energy. I mean, David Grush was really exciting and that was big, but I feel like somebody was saying in the chat, are we getting evidence this time? I believe we are getting video footage this time.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
So, and in the clip, we've seen the image of this video footage is this helicopter with a wire down. Is that the top half of the image? And then we're going to see the bottom half in the interview? I mean...
Well, I heard before, like just a few hours ago, I behind the scenes, I'm in a bajillion different group chats, and I also have one-on-one DMs with a lot of people in the community, some people that you'd probably be surprised that I have DMs with, but it's a reality. And I heard from a number of different people over the course of an hour that this gentleman that's going to be on NewsNation with Ross is not only coming with 3 other people to corroborate his story, and in what capacity, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're going to be on camera in this interview tonight or if they're going to put out statements. I'm not really sure of the specifics with that, but I heard from a couple really good places that he doesn't just have footage or photographs, but there's also like sensor data. There's other forms of corroborating evidence aside from human beings telling a story and photos and videos. Like there's a package coming here of some kind. That's what I heard. I can't confirm that though. But that's what this sounds big. I mean, really, I like, retroactively speaking, I remember somebody mentioning something coming in my inbox, like literally maybe 2 weeks before they actually said anything official about this. I'm not going to say who, but Digby is somebody that is from your neck of the woods across the pond that's very intelligent, that said, hey, heads up.
I definitely don't know them then.
No, you definitely know them. You definitely don't play with me. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, he gave me a heads up and said, hey, things are about to get really interesting. This was like in the heat of the drone situation here in New Jersey, of all places. He said, it's besides the drones, like, get ready, strap in, like, for real, watch and keep an eye out. And here we are.
Still seeing drone footage coming out of New Jersey?
Yes, and I've seen some myself. I have footage of it. I do. I have footage that I took of stuff that I live next to Joint Base MDL, Fort Dix, McGuire, Lakehurst, where there was a landing in the 70s, by the way. And I am seeing things in the sky lately that I'm not really sure what they are. Honestly, like even now it's slowed down a lot. Yeah, let's see if we're just doing a little bit of a test here, but they're showing some footage.
They're putting this up, so I thought I'd put it
up. It'll raise the question of which came first, the alien or the egg.
I unfortunately went down the pun road and I put out a very punny post, and I could not believe how many likes and reshares that freaking post got. I was like, dude, it was just a bunch of egg puns and it had like 900 likes. I'm like, really? But this long drawn out post that I made about how consciousness may be non-local and how that explains telekinesis and all psi phenomena, that got 7. But the puns got 900. It's just one of those algorithmic things where it's just like, yo, what the hell is this?
Doesn't that suck when you like spend the whole night writing something, especially on your phone, and then
I do it all the time.
You gotta restart it, and then you think people are gonna love this. You get like 2 likes, and one of them's your mom. You're like,
It's Wes coming in hot with the super chat, $2 in support of puns. Thank you again, sir. That's really kind. People work very hard for their money, and that really means a lot to us. So thank you, because it makes us very happy to see that, and it's good energy exchange. Money, you guys just being here in the chat with us means a lot. Honestly, I feel it. Is he?
Vinny's in the chat. Vinny.
Disclosure team in the house. Vinny's been very, very busy lately.
Vinny, if you want to jump on, just send me a message. I'll send you the link. You're more than welcome to.
I saw Vinny in Washington, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, well, there's doppelganger. I was sure it was Vinny. And right after it was done, I got up and I went, "Hey, Vinny, how's it going?"
Hey, let's get down to the rumor mill too about the Washington.
I was absolutely adamant that it was Vinny. And when he turned around, I went red. And the lady next to him was like, "Who's Vinny?" And I'm trying to explain who Vinny Adams is. He's a famous podcaster. I thought you were. I was so embarrassed. And the guy behind me is like, "I thought it was him too." I'm like, "Fuck you."
Oh, that's so
I
funny.
did. I did meet Vinny last month. Was it last month?
You did, yeah. He called me and he was like, "Hey, guess what?" And he turns the camera and Vinny's right next to him. I was like, "What's happening?" It's great. I love our community, man.
Vinny
It's the
comes
best.
into town right near. I've hung out with him a couple times locally here. So me and Vinny.
Doesn't his girlfriend
Well,
live
he's got a
out by
lady
you?
over there.
Yeah. So we've got to hang out. So that's
He's
cool.
moving over here too, if I'm not mistaken. He said he was going to.
I'm trying to get him to do a CE5, man. I'm like, dude, let's go out and do a CE5,
And yo,
man. And
you
film
were
it.
talking about that on the space the other night about potentially getting something together on the East Coast, and I already told you I will save my vacation time.
Yeah.
I'm not going on my big vacation this year in the summer, so I'll have vacation time. I will drive down, and I'm so serious too. I swear to God, I'm as serious as a heart attack.
Yeah.
I will come down for that. Absolutely, absolutely. You said something a couple minutes ago. You said the rumor mill in Washington.
Well, like, so I think something's happening to where if some people are posting that people are like going to Washington or like DC right now. And I think what's funny is everybody is thinking that Trump's team is like meeting with people who are in the UFO topic, because that I mentioned earlier about Trump Jr., right?
Yeah,
Trump
yeah.
Jr. had Ross Coulthart and Elizondo on earlier this week. I am on good information to say that Trump actually watched like a lot of that podcast, bro. Like he actually watched that shit. So, you know, and then now people are like going to Washington saying like Jack Sarfati or, you know, how put off is thrown in
Jack.
there. But there's different people who are being thrown into the, you know, flying down or like meeting with the new team with the new transition that's happening. And so I think that people are like, you know, really thinking that there could be an attention to this topic unlike ever before. Right off the bat, you know.
Boy, what would that mean? I mean, politics aside, it's a big deal. It's an incoming administration. And just the fact that we have, you know, for lack of a better term, a team of people that's already making the physical effort to go and meet with the administration, what Republican, Democrat, I don't care. I just don't care. Look, that means a lot, because that means they're taking it seriously. We have to, because this doesn't even, it encompasses the whole NHI thing, which is obviously the biggest deal of all deals, but also the fact that there are other agents, if you will, in the world that we have to be careful of as far as airspace safety and such. That's a big part of this too. You know, the Chinese, the Russians, and you know, hopefully one day we'll get to a place where we don't have to refer to them as adversaries anymore. I hope we can get there one day. But yeah, that's a big deal, man. That really is. That's a shift. That's a
even
big
with
shift.
the timing of it, right? The timing, all of this happening right before. So regardless of who was going to be president, all this stuff was going to happen. Lou's book was going to come out. All this, you know. So this has been months, and that's where it's more of a coordinated feeling about a lot of this.
I would say,
just want to say, Vinny, I've just sent you the StreamYard link on your X, so check your inbox. Vinny Adams is going to come and join us, gentlemen.
Oh, really?
Yay! Yeah, I was going to say that,
Nice.
you know, even though we got people watching the skies, really it's the ground as well. It's what we need to be watching. If there are bases, which is alleged, there's many of them on this rock, we need to find them. We need to know why they're there, how long they've been there, and exactly you know, why that specific location. I mean, we're talking about, there's certain places in the States we know they're keeping this reverse technology. That's fine. But we know there's also locations where we know are very active, and possibly that's where their bases are. The Dulce base, for instance, is one of them. Philip Schneider was watching the documentary by Darcy Weir, my boy Darcy Weir.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah, and he was talking about Philip Schneider. Now, Jason Sands, had he been coming out back when Philip Schneider came out, he would have had probably the same exact outcome as Philip Schneider did. You know, the man was strangled 3 times around the neck with his own catheter, supposedly suicide or an accident. Yeah, my ass. And when we talk about people in the past coming out and dying, there are crimes. Hey, Vinny, there are crimes that need to be looked into. And I think that's the biggest, scariest thing about this disclosure thing. Even though we got these whistleblowers, the amount of skeletons in that closet is going to be freaky.
Yeah.
And again, it's what have we done? What have our own species, what have our own military done?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm interested in. Like the NHI, that's one separate incident, but our crimes, what have we done against our own species? That I'm willing to look into. And
I think, I mean, I don't want to go political here, but Trump is going to be unearthing all the JFK files and stuff like that. Are we going to see some more from him? Somebody's just put in here 2 days in office and Trump will announce something. I don't think we're going to be that lucky, unfortunately, but I do feel like he's more open to letting stuff out now. He's said that he wants to dismantle the deep state. This is a big part of that. Anyway, Vinny, welcome.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes. You got yourself ready quick there, sir. He's like, yeah, I'll be on in a minute. And all of a sudden it just popped up.
Go time, baby. It's go time.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
You never know. I have a nice IPA, just chilling out, getting ready for the NewsNation show. But yeah, I saw you guys were on. Thought I'd jump in the chat. But no, I appreciate the invitation to come say hi quickly. Good to see you all. Really good to see you.
You too,
sir.
Good
to see you again, Vinny. It's good to see you again.
We are going to be
telling the boys about my
do stay with us.
Yeah, I was telling the boys about my Washington D.C. trip when I thought I saw you. It's funny though, because I have like a Vinny Adams story that doesn't involve Vinny at all.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I love it.
That's rare. Right?
He's a doppelganger. That's great. Look at this. Look at what's happening right now. We're just a bunch of humans, but we're all collectively here for this one thing. Like, I feel like this live stream right now, and I'm not patting us on the back, but I'm serious. Like, this is what the community needs to be moving forward, where we're all together. We have a good time. We bring some humor into it. There's moments of seriousness, but there's moments of curiosity. Like, we can do this. This is possible right here throughout we could get it up to at least 75%, man. I'm confident. I think we could do it. I'm an optimist.
Look, what's great about this is we've actually got 3 different podcast hosts and 4 podcast hosts, but 3 different podcasts all streaming at the same time. The community can work together if we don't spend all our time fighting with each other. And this is a testament to the fact that actually, we're competing podcasts, but we all got each other's back. We all support each other. And it's great to see that the community can do that.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it, as it goes into the live stream. I'd like to see anything that is a discussion point to be handled just the way we're doing it now. Everybody just does their fact finding. Nobody fights. Nobody throws knives. That's the way the professional world works, and I think we're headed towards a much better way of vetting things. And we'll see how the whole discussion goes with this live stream. I'm really excited to see that because I've seen nothing but progress in the community itself. Yeah. And you guys are all top quality podcasters. I've always had much respect for each of you guys because you guys are the ones that understand that, your space is your space. You know how to control it. You know when people need to be kicked or silenced because some people do get out of control. And that's something that whistleblowers need. They need that safe space to know that it's going to be respectful regardless of whether people agree or disagree. So I hope the same thing happens tonight. We all get together and talk.
It's so cool to see that shift in mentality because Vinny, I think you and I started about the same time, in about the vicinity of the same time. And it wasn't like that when we started. Like it still was very cutthroat where people were just like, if you reach out to anybody, oh, hell no, like you weren't going to get any help, right? So, like we've all done that. We all had to punch our way through and be consistent. That's the key. But it's the intentions behind it. You guys, every single one of you have integrity, morals, and the reason why you do what you do and why people follow you is because of that. Jason, when you first came out, skeptical like everybody else. I always give it some time until somebody, basically proves themselves. I've seen your interviews. I've seen your genuine personality. If you don't know somebody like, I don't know, I can't tell you. I don't know. This is what we need. And you were mentioning, Tom, about, this collectiveness that we have. We mention this all the time, but teamwork to make the dream work. There's no singularity in this. If we're dealing with a civilization, do you think one person is the person that's going to reveal it to the world? What you guys are doing in the States is affecting us in Canada big time. We just had a report come out this week, and it is suggested to the Canadian government, get your ass in line, get a team kind of like what Arrow has in the States, and this should be done pronto. And it's great because you're seeing that movement happen worldwide where we're all unifying under the same thing. the same flag, if you will. And it doesn't matter what creed, what religion, your political alliances, or what you do for a hobby. This subject affects us as a group and as individuals as well. So, kudos to you guys as well for doing what you do, man. Seriously. A lot of people appreciate you for good reasons.
Let me follow up on that, because you make such a good point there. I've been lucky enough to meet up with Astral and Digby in person, and it's very easy to be a certain individual behind a camera or behind a keyboard. But, Digby's from a different background to me, Astral's from a different background to me, but when we get together and hang out, we just have the best times and stuff. And I think we need to remember that, even when we're sat behind our keyboards and stuff, that it's okay to not always think the same or come from the same direction when looking into this subject. And boy, oh boy, it really does go to show that, with the right frame of mind and we come together, great things happen, great conversations happen, and it's just positivity all around. And I love that. I love you guys for that.
Yeah, it is great. And Vinny, meeting you in London as well was just awesome. And the guys that we met up with and everything like that, seeing people from the community was great. And we are such a great, strong community of such wonderful, wonderful people. So let's just, remember
Digby,
that and keep acting in that way.
Now that we're here together too, just so you guys in the chat, some of you don't know this, but Vinny is literally the reason that I do what I do. You are. Like, I was listening to you. I was at work. It was like 5 a.m. I'll never forget it. I was working at Harbor Freight, and it was like I don't know, maybe a month or a few weeks before the pandemic. It was like really close before it started, and it was, I think, the first or like second time you interviewed Lou. It was really early on, and I'm like, you know what? I have a lot to say about this, and I've experienced this. I was like, I have a YouTube channel, I stream games, but I do have some content about this subject on there. I'm like, this is really what I care about. Maybe I should give it a shot. So other people inspire each other in this community. There are people who said that they want to start a podcast because, they saw Digby and I, or they saw Vinny, or they were, they met Astral in a space, or they're fans of UAP studies. Like, that's how this works, and it spreads, and we're not competing. We're a family of shows that are just all out here talking about the same thing. And when we show each other support, like, really, really amazing things can happen. And I think that's why we're at where we're at now. 2017 was the catalyst. Everybody jumped back in with genuine interest again, and that has now become this big, like, ufology snowball that's been rolling, and now it's pretty big. That's pretty big, and here we are, and I am so goddamn excited right now, and I haven't been in a long time.
Massive thank you to everybody sending in the super chats. It's really, really kind of you.
That's
really,
very, very sweet.
Really appreciate it, guys.
And
really,
Tom,
really
just want to say thank you for your kind words there. I really appreciate that. But one thing I will say to that as well is that in this day and age now, we have so many UFO podcasts, and you often see people saying that it's too saturated, there are too many, and I disagree completely. I think anybody out there that wants to put themselves on the internet, on YouTube, or on a podcast platform should absolutely 100% do it, because their voice is just as important as anybody that's come before them. Do not be afraid, because like you said, we're not in competition with each other. We're just another person with another voice wanting to have our say, and that's all it comes down to. So I want that message to be put out there for anybody. And if anybody
you see that too when there's like bigger events that take place and there's disinformation from larger influencers that just jump on the topic because it's viral. We're like, damn, we need voices, but to have those big voices to compete with those, you have to build your channel and like go through the growing pains of like, not when those events happen, not everybody's going to go to you for the answers, but you got to build up, to be able to have that information resource for people when they really start digging into some of these events to get the real information and what's really happening.
There you go.
Although I would say there's a big problem in this field with people ripping off other people's work.
Yeah,
they'll take a clip from, let's say, Vinny's show, and they'll just zoom in on the guest. They won't give Vinny any credit for stealing his shit. You know what I mean? But then you see that quite a bit, and that's not right.
That wholeheartedly.
I've been victim of that.
Hey, when you write a research paper, you got to cite your sources. You know what I mean? Like it's really easy to use a clip. I tell people all the time, please, if you like something I said, use it. And all you got to do is just mention who it came from or put their name in the corner or something. And it does a lot. That's
Yeah,
it.
common courtesy.
Another
Thank you,
$10 just
Susan.
came in. Susan is amazing, by the way. She has an amazing story. I want to credit you guys, Jay and Mike over at UAP Studies for that one, because
it was a biggie. We broke that story. That was pretty cool.
I didn't know anything
it was a
about
great
that, and you guys did an amazing job with her, and her story is outrageous. One of the wildest, most fascinating contact stories that I think exists. It's incredible.
It rivals Travis Walton's case. To me, it rivals that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I think it's going to be some time because it's got to catch on. But when people really begin to understand what that story entails and what comes with it, and the evidence associated with it,
I'd love her to come to Contact in the Desert this year.
When is it? So when is Contact in the Desert?
That's coming up. You're looking at May 29th to June 3rd is the date.
I might be going, bro.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing. To me, it was
try.
like a spiritual awakening almost. Like it's like being in church. Everybody there, like you sit down with Paul Hynek and you go to the bar and there's Dave Foley and you know what I mean? You're just like, where am I?
I just got invited to speak there this year, but I'm not sure if I can make it.
No, dude, Vinny, if you can make it, dude, seriously, try to make it out.
I'm trying everything I possibly can right now. Trust me, because that was the conference that back in the day, pre-2017, when I was just a lonely researcher, that was one of the the conferences that always stuck out. I would listen to it every year when the lectures were released online. I would listen to them. And so, to come around to this year now to finally be invited to speak was almost like, full circle. It was my dream.
If you make it, Vinny, we are doing a live recording there. Thomas Jane will be on there. You're free to come on with us as well.
I would love that. Oh my god.
That would be amazing.
I'll give you 2 reasons to come down, all right?
All right, brother.
I really would love to try to get out there.
Loads of people in the chat obviously have joined us recently. We are going to try and stream the NewsNation interview here, so please do stay with us. We did a little test run before the show, and the stream seems to work. So if you are outside of the US and you're struggling to find where to watch it, stay with us. We will be showing it in about 15-16 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to give it a shot. They might pull it down, but we're going to try.
I'm just going to say a quick hello and goodbye to everyone. I just wanted to jump on and say thank you for you guys for doing this and to say hello. And before I go, I want to say, Jason, I know we haven't spoken before. I just want to say thank you for what you've done as well. I know we're friends on certain platforms. I'd love to speak to you in the future if you'd be willing to. I appreciate you so much. And all of you other guys, again, good friends of mine. Thank you so much for everything.
Actually, Vinny, I was speaking to Jason the other day, and we were talking about future podcasts you should go on, and there was 2 that I mentioned, and one was UAP Studies, and the other one was yours.
I really appreciate that,
because you're both really respectful interviewers, and I think it would be a good experience for Jason. I think it'd be good time for everybody, and a good watch. So
vouch for that.
I have no problem with that, Vinny. So.
Thank you so much, man. You guys enjoy your night. Let's hope we get some good things coming in the next hour or so. But again, thank you for letting me hop on. To everyone in the chat, keep watching. Love these guys, and I'll see you all soon. Okay.
Cheers, care, Vinny.
Take care, Vinny. It was great seeing you, buddy.
You too, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dude, I got goosebumps right now, man. I'm not even.
I can't.
I swear to God.
Love the way he talks. He's got.
I know he's such a nice guy, man.
Why doesn't he do ASMR videos? I don't understand.
I'll talk him into it. I'll figure it out.
UAP stories, but read like ASMR. Like
that guy's honestly, man. I didn't want to get too deep into it, but that guy's like a hero to me. And it's like we're friends over the internet, and I'm just like, oh my God, there's the guy that literally inspired me one morning to do this.
And he was one of our first interviews on UAPod. He was one of our first.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like
he's humbled, and that's
he's a good guy though, man.
Jason and everybody else in the community, he's humbled, and when you meet him, he doesn't have an ego about him. When you attend, these conferences or big, if you watch, just be quiet and watch, and you see who's who very fast. And with guys like Vinny, I've never met him in person, never shared a beer. I look forward to it. But I've never heard a single complaint or negative thing ever said about Vinny. And I think if we all focus on having some career in research and we can have that kind of reputation, I'm okay with it. There's no money involved, but as long as you got a good reputation, you're good. You know what I mean?
Stoned, thank you so much.
Super chat from who I love, Stoned.
I know I haven't spoken to her in ages.
She's wonderful. She's a beautiful, intelligent soul, and I absolutely love Stone so much.
I got a question for.
Jason.
Yeah, I got a question for Jason Sand. So we're getting more whistleblowers coming forward. Recently, you came forward yourself, and we're starting to see bigger and bigger revelations come forward. And it seems like go big or go home at this point. Like if you're gonna come out swinging, like this gentleman's coming out with some sort of footage that we're gonna see. Obviously, there is evidence that what you guys are saying is true, because why would the people who employed you, the U.S. military, treat you the way they did? Right? Like if you say anything, we're going to punish you. And when I mean punish you, they really go hard, right? And that to me is evidence in and of itself that there's something there. Why would you go above and beyond to make somebody's life a living hell, especially when they worked for you for how many years? You were decorated servicemen, and yet they treated you like this. What do you think the outcomes are going forward with the other whistleblowers? Do you think you guys are going to be handled better? Is there going to be more security for you guys in the future?
I believe there's going to be more security, because if there's more of us coming forward, it's going to get harder and harder for them to keep up the work. In other words, I'm not going to be the one guy that has been had some reprisals and grush. You know, it won't just be the couple of us guys. It'll be a bunch of us. Right. And that would really make a better case for people to look at and go, well, this is how Jason's clearance got messed with. This is how so-and-so's clearance got messed with. It's exactly the same tactic. Mm-hmm. And that gives, you know, some legal means to go after, you know, people that are playing nasty. And that's kind of what needs to happen. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep a lid on it, and they have their reasonings, and for good or for bad, there are those reasons, but there's parts of the program that they can certainly come clean on. And that's all I'm asking of them. I'm not asking for them to do a lot of any other things to cause them to continue reprising me and doing the things they've done. But yeah, I think ultimately we're all gonna, if we can come out as a group and we're professional about it, we show our data like I did at Julian's interview. I showed documentation, and when you can do that, it gives you that credibility, and then you can move forward from that. And I think that's going to mean something to our Congress, who wants to give us our protections as well, because then they're going, yeah, this guy's real. He definitely was where he said he was, and he has a clearance and or had a clearance, and all these things will matter at that point. So I think it's going to get better for whistleblowers.
And as somebody from the inside, what would you say we as a community could do to help you guys?
Well, I was going to sing some of your praises earlier when you guys were talking with Vinny, and that is each of you. I don't know if you guys give any credence to yourselves or credit, but you each represent large audiences of people that are full of scientists, engineers, software developers, psychologists, every walk of life. And that's the community. That's what people can do. That's how we change our government even. I mean, that's the beauty and the power of the people. Right. But we have to come together to get that power. You can't just singularly be cutting each other's throats to get there. You've got to work together, whether you agree with everything or disagree with 30% of it. Come on, let's get along. Let's get to a better place. And I think that's what sings the praise for you guys. You guys represent those cultures and those opinions and everything else that goes with it. And I think that's important.
But nothing without you guys, because without you guys, we have nothing to talk about. So you guys give us, I mean, it's like we said, it's just cogs in the wheel. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the symbiosis that has to take place. Right.
Love it.
We have to be good whistleblowers, willing to show our documentation and the proof that we have. And you guys can do the rest on the other side, where you can literally rally the troops to the cause. You know, that's what you're doing. So that's how I would say it in a nutshell, though, Jason, is just that, that's a big thing for you guys to be there and advocating and showing people all of these things that are in our world. And like it or not, there's some high strangeness, and we've got to really try to push that forward and figure it out before, you know, hopefully it's not something that's going to mean bad things for us. Hopefully it's going to be nothing but a good thing. Like we were talking earlier, where, you know, you were saying you got to think up, you know, what does this look like? If we're really being watched, what do we look like? Where are we going with our conversation today, tomorrow? That really sings of our humanity to people that would be watching us.
Yeah. Wow. I like the
There's
fact that
so much love coming for you, Jason, in the chat as well, and I think it's so great because when you first came out, there's so many people skeptical, and then so many people saying so many different things. Some of it wasn't so nice, and it's really nice to see now all these people coming to your story. And the recent interview this week obviously has really helped. And I think it's so great that people are showing so much love and support for you, because we need this for our whistleblowers. If they start feeling like they're being treated badly by the public and everybody's going to shit on them just because they don't believe them and not treat them with respect, then we're not going to get what we need. We need to treat these people with kindness and respect. They have repercussions for what they're doing. Jason hasn't worked since he's come forward because of the fact he's come forward. People lose their livelihoods to do what they feel is best for humanity and to give the people what they want, and that's the truth. So thank you for everything that you continue to do, and I'm just really happy to see all this support coming in for you, brother.
Thank you. And I love seeing that too. I get it every day in my inbox and on X. There's so many great people out there that are curious. Some of them, they're full of questions, and other people are just there to say, I've got your back. And I love that. You have no idea what energy that gives me, especially when I've taken a couple of really hard blows from other people. It really means a lot to a guy like me.
I can't even imagine. And a lot of this stuff, dude, that's ufology. That's the investigative work that's being done now. It's not Stanton Friedman's. It's people hosting spaces of whistleblowers and people that say they have information, giving them the platform, and then letting the community vet and research the information. To me, the best researcher of all of this is the community. The community, the amount of people that are so locked into this topic to where they get a glimpse of somebody lifting the photo out of their pocket to put on the counter. They'll take the screenshot and look up, watch what happens of all the things that happen out of this show. People are going to pick out 100 different things, but that's the amount of research that we have. And I think that the more that we can get the research information, because I think people are quick to be shut it down, vet it, they're not credible. First, we have to get the information out. As investigative journalists in the field itself, we have to get the information out there. And then, we can sift through it. But first, we have to get it out in these platforms. Like Jason was saying, it's a recognition now of young content creators and platforms and people who are getting the information out to the public. It's changed. It's not the mainstream media anymore. It's people like you guys were talking about, people like us. And so the more that we can get whistleblowers confident, going out with people like Jesse Michaels, Ross Colehart, people in this chat, all the podcasts that are coming out, people even smaller ones. So we're going to have a lot more power in our hands going forward.
There's a lot of great shows too. There's some small ones out there that really, I love some of these shows out here. There's guys that it's amazing. Some of them will have 700 to 1,000 subs, and then they post a video every other day or every day. And it's man, I wish I had that kind of time. And I really enjoy watching that. Listen, if you're out here, because I saw a couple people in the chat say this, that they were maybe too shy to start a show. There's so many good people in this community that will help you. I'll help you. Digby will help you. Everybody here is willing to give a handout, and this is such a big deal. Think about what this represents, right? I think most people that are in our little vicinity here already know that this is happening. That we're not alone. There's experiencers. But when the rest of the world catches up with that, we have an actual chance for a better future for our grandchildren and our great grandchildren. That's a big deal to me. It's maybe I won't be here to see all of that, but to have a part in that.
I wanted to bring up one other thing. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Jack.
Well, think about, the way that we all met, and you guys got to know me, and everybody else has seen me. All you guys have gotten to know me one way or the other. And I wanted to bring to light the fact that we talk behind the scenes from the live streams and everything else, and we take care of people. How many times have we talked about tough subjects and we're analyzing, and there's other people that we are concerned with because they're coming out, and we really are trying to rally to try to make sure that it all they're protected properly and that they're comfortable before they go forward. There's a lot of that goes on behind the scenes that our audiences don't always see, but that's another thing I want to sing the praises of, is without that, you guys, again, are offering that. And when you give us, people like me, that kind of attention and care, that really does the entire community well,
Totally
And also,
agree with that.
yeah, I was going to say with the people that have been in the service and have been injured by crash recovery, either handling materials or they got hurt through however they got hurt, those people don't have a voice, right? They're off, they're being paid by the government, but it's basically hush hush. And how many of those people are there out there? And what are their conditions? I spoke to the gentleman from the Rendlesham Force incident. He said he still has to go to the Army base to get Wright-Patterson Air Force to get his heart checked. He cannot get a regular doctor to check his heart. He's got to go to the Wright-Patterson Air Force because his heart condition started after the Rendlesham Force incident. So they're aware of this, and they're the ones controlling the narrative. Doctors won't have those people come in for visits. They're specifically the doctors at Wright-Patterson Air Force, which means there's a whole new level of medicine or effects that these things have on us that we have no idea of. It changes everything. Medicine, psychology, everything. I think we might find our humanity in looking into this. Looking for non-human intelligence might make us a little bit more human towards one another. Who knows?
Yeah, I've always said that. I'm just sorry, I'm playing around. I'm getting my notebook out. I know it's getting down to crunch time.
I like the notebook.
Taking notes during this live stream, guys.
I love it.
I'm getting excited as well. So,
4 minutes.
Notepads out.
I'm going for a pre-interview pee break. Excuse me.
Got it. It's fun. I always have one right here for this very reason. And also on the front cover is kind of interesting. This is actually from an older episode of the podcast, but this is actually a drawing of a craft that was described to me by somebody that I spoke to, which is kind of interesting because it sort of reminds me of some of the stuff that apparently happened back in Roswell. And I always thought that was kind of weird. I was like, oh, that's eerie. It kind of looks like that thing. Oh my God. One of my favorite people, Heather Birdie's here in the chat. Hello, Heather. One of our good friends here from X/Twitter. That community is just amazing. There's so much representation in the chat. Obviously, since we're here, quick call to action on the Cortex Zero YouTube channel. If you're watching on that channel, make sure you just leave a little like and subscribe. And it means a lot to have that happen from you guys because we continuously make content about this and you make connections with people through it, and that's a big deal. So so we only have 2 minutes left here. So guys, this is a big deal. Obviously, I can't predict the outcome. All right,
it's go time, baby.
We are going to try to stream this here. We don't care about monetization or anything of that nature. We're not trying to rip off Ross. I'm in a group chat with Ross. So is Jason and Digby. Like Ross is an amazing journalist. We heard that so many people weren't going to be able to watch it, and I'm like, well, let's try. So listen, if they pull it down, we did our best. This might be the end of the stream, so we don't know. If they don't pull it down, and maybe they pull it down after it's live, then we did our duty. We're just trying to get it out to as many people as possible. We just want to be able to watch this with you. I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I was like, people in the UK and Canada, like what? Like this should be the top news story on Earth right now if this is as big as it could be and as big as they're saying it is. So we got 1 minute. We're gonna when it goes live, we'll be on the side here. We're gonna mute our mics and everything, and we're all gonna watch this together and see how this plays out. And hopefully it goes well.
And guys, keep your comments coming in. I'm going to monitor them. I'm going to put them up on the screen. Keep the chat going throughout.
Definitely.
We will chat in the chat as well. If there's ad breaks, we will come on during the ad breaks and mute it and have a little recap, and then we'll do a little recap at the end.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I'm going to love watching all the questions come in and the curiosity about what's going to happen here in a few minutes.
Disclosure, baby.
It's like a live reaction video, for everybody. So
I've got a beard fan.
What's that?
Here we go. Let's get the audio up.
Identified anomalous phenomena, being of non-human really technology that is certainly not known.
I got within 150 feet of this object.
We are not alone.
We are not alone.
NewsNation special report with Ross Coulthart hunting UFOs. The crash retrieval whistleblower starts right now.
NewsNation Monday.
All right, let's mute that for a second.
Yeah, let's mute that for a sec.
He dropped some bombs there, man.
Gary is involved.
Yep.
Interesting.
I love the part where he said from the ground. They came from the ground or the mountain. Strange. Wow.
That is very interesting. There's been reports of objects and even footage out there of objects that are like passing through what is supposed to be like, you know, a physical mountain range or like the side of a cliff. So that is very interesting. And you know, I listen. If you've followed Ross Coulthart for long enough, he doesn't usually say you have to see it to believe it unless you're like really means it. So my confidence just went up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like which I know there's a lot of bullshit in the chat and there's bots asking for links, even though they're already here and blah, blah, blah. So for those of us that give a shit and are here for the right reasons.
We're on target.
Yeah. Here's something else. He actually dropped another bomb that made me think about my program days. He said these were classified craft, and he was taking them and picking them up and putting them where they belong. So in other words, these craft where were they that made them have to be where they are? Is he just talking about a holding pen, or did this craft come from someplace that they already knew of and they were taking it back to where it belonged?
That's interesting, and that has crypto-terrestrial vibes.
Well,
for a number of reasons.
You know, I was going to say, because we were talking about things coming out of, you know, rock foundations or mountains, and we know that that's where they operate. Even the Phil Schneider case, they had drilled into the Dulce base, and that's where the firefight took place between him and the 7-foot-tall gray. So maybe these operations, they already know where these locations are, but getting retrievals of these crafts might be a little bit more tricky. Obviously, we found a way around it, but if they're able to fly through rock, how do you fight something like that?
They're obviously able to hide wherever, right? It's like, how could anybody think about the oceans and then think about underground? Like, we don't have any right to sit here and say, there's nothing down there. Really? We have space mapped out better. Like, genuinely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
So he's pretty high. You're pretty high on the Phil Schneider thing. Sorry, Digby, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you believe in the Phil Schneider case.
Oh, 100%.
It's interesting.
100%. The
That's
way
very
he
interesting.
died for me solidified it.
It was very weird.
Oh yeah.
Yo, me and Tom got hype with the psionics. The psionic part of the I'm like, yo, psionics, let's go.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
All right, guys, I'm now officially going to crack a beer because this is getting good.
All right.
Mental health was better, but uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia.
Isn't that like the worst commercial to put on right after he said?
I have to agree with that.
Jason, I want to jump to Jason straight away and talk about
Yeah.
the psychic connection, because this is something that Jason has talked at length about. How does this compare to what you felt, Jason?
I felt like crying with him because I felt the same peace, the same love. You know,
And it stayed with you as well, hasn't it? You've said this before.
Yeah, it's stayed with me ever since. It's always been there. It's always been protecting. And it's that invisible hand that I've always talked about.
You know, I want to jump in.
Sorry, I'm having a bit of a coughing fit. Hang on.
No, you're good. You're
I'm
good.
jealous of his cigar.
Yeah, it looks like a good time. I just came to the realization that there's the large UFO community that thinks it's ready to have these conversations, but then when someone comes out, they're like, oh, well, that footage didn't meet our expectations of what we want, so now we're just going to shit on the rest of what he has to say. And it's like, I think this is still going to be a process that's going to take a while.
Yeah, and that wasn't shot at night. That was a night shot. Like when you're looking at the image on the right, it's all black. They shot that at night. That's what the spotlight was on it. You could tell by the shadow of the egg which direction they were dropping it off. So whatever he was doing at night, he was filming it. That's why the resolution may not be the best, but you're looking at grass or
I'm not impressed by the footage itself, but I'm taking everything in totality because I have a fucking brain where I look at everything together. It's like, who is he? Who are these people that he's talking to?
Yeah.
Are they being vetted? Like, and if there's other pieces of evidence that comes with it, as far as sensor data and things of that nature, like I didn't expect to be like super blown away by the footage. What we should be considering is everything in its totality. But because the video, wasn't the xenomorph, jumping out and saying hello to everybody. That's what pisses me off about this, is that, like, you can still divide the herd of people with an interest in this subject. Like, there's levels to this where it's just like, we're left with this, like, real, like, not super small, but a much smaller group of people that are sitting and listening intently, intellectually, with bated breath, listening to every last little thing that guy's saying and taking it into consideration. I mean, look at what this guy does and where he comes from. And then the three gentlemen, he had a green beret back. Do you guys realize what a fucking green beret is? Do you know what that is? Because if you don't, you should go research that. That's what pisses me off, is that, honestly, it does piss me off.
Sorry about the...
It's probably like a few 100 million people looking at this at the same time, so naturally they're going to crash.
There we go. Straight to an advert.
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app.
Okay. How are we all thinking, guys?
Hold on, real quick. I just want to listen. Got a little emotional. I'm not. There's a lot of. Listen, it's okay to be skeptical. What I'm talking about is that there is a clear operation that has been going on for years on the internet, where anything of this nature, always, like, we have done so many shows, we've done many interviews, and it's amazing to see. It's obvious that there are tons of real people in our chat, but there's also bots. There's a lot of random names that pop up that have no profile picture that are like, where's the link? Where's the link? Where's the link? That's what I'm talking about. But as far as being angry at the footage, I can sympathize with that, because we all want something that's like really mind-blowing. But I will say, what we have to take into consideration, we have no idea what it took to get that footage out. I mean, you got to think about the powers that we're dealing with here as far as the lock and key. This has been going on. If you believe this, if you believe that there's been a cover-up, this has been going on for a very, very, very long time. I'm not shitting on the audience. I'm talking about the obvious bullshit that comes into a chat sometimes. I'm not talking about the people that are being reasonably skeptical or disappointed about the footage. I'm not happy with the footage, but we got to give this story a chance to play out. You guys know me, man. I'm cool with opposing opinions and things of that nature. What sucks is when you're like me and you're an experiencer, it's frustrating to have. It's a blessing and a curse, because it's like, it happened, you saw it, it's real. But sometimes it feels like you're just kind of in a classroom with people pointing and laughing at you, like you're having a dream where you're like, you walked into school naked or something, because it's like you can't grab it out of your head. You can't grab it out of your head and like hand it to anybody and share it with them to show them how real it is. It sucks. It's like, it's amazing for you. It's amazing for Susan and Whitley and everybody and Jay. It's like, it sucks that I can't just like grab it out of my head and share it with you. And you're like, oh yeah, now I get it. Oh shit. It sucks to have that sometimes. It's cool that it happened. It's amazing. It's a life-changing experience, because but it's frustrating that you can't just like hand it to somebody.
Yeah, I was going to mention, Tom, I put this up when they were talking about it. Rumor behind the mill, and I can't confirm this, but they use twins to fly these crafts of unknown origins because of the twin telepathy thing. And I'm a twin, so I know exactly what they're talking about. My brother and I don't have it as hard as we used to, but when we were kids, I would look at him and knew exactly what I was thinking.
Hey, everyone.
Man, those medical injuries must really suck. Jesus.
Yeah, and
skin falling off your arms, and
we've spoken to, and we had the opportunity and pleasure to interview Gary, and Gary doesn't come off to me like someone who's going to waste his time with nonsense. Like when the what's it called, the I forget how to pronounce it. The Atacama mummy, the mummy, the little body. He went and did analysis on that. And he's like, yeah, this is like maybe a deformed fetus or whatever it turned out to be. He's like, yeah, it's not non-human, but in the same breath, it has clearly said on many occasions, like, yes, this is real. Yes, we're being visited. Yes, I know some things that I can't talk about. Like, there's a lot. He's someone who's just going to do the science, and whatever the answer comes out to, that's the answer he's going to give you, because that's factual. And he's saying, yeah, like, this is happening. I don't. There's an adjustment period that's going to have to happen. But I think I just said this in the chat because you can tell people are itching for just like an actual answer, an actual reveal. Look at what's airing on TV right now. You have a guy, former military, an operator no less, that is telling you about this, right? It's like, come on, just spill the beans at this point. Really, just get to the basics. It's like, yes, we're being visited. Yes, we lied about Roswell. Yes, we have craft. Yes, we have bodies. Yes, we're not alone. Just get it over with already now. We're at that point.
I think we need to remember as well that, this was spoken about in great length on Donald Trump Jr.'s podcast the other day. We're talking about the son of the incoming president of the United States. He wouldn't be attaching himself to anything if he thought this was all horse shit.
Right.
That's the big point. That's the big point. His father wouldn't let him do it. Jesus Christ, what an embarrassment it would be if this all turned out to be horseshit.
I was going to say, guys, that what drew my attention, I was just talking about how his whole crew got hurt.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of like Indiana Jones and, at the end when they look at the Ark of the Covenant and everybody just melts and gets, I'm thinking like, what if that happened and it must have throughout history that people have been killed in large numbers being close to a craft, or obviously like this box of mystery, whatever it is, causing people to have cancer like crazy. They probably die very fast. We know that in the incident in Virginia, that police officer that apprehended one of the weird entities died within 24 hours of a weird, strange immune disorder or something. Like, it killed him really fast. So how many personnel have been labeled killed in action, but were actually killed?
Oh, there's other footage that they're about to roll out other than the egg one.
We'll see.
Tom, you're muted. I can't hear you.
I have to agree with what you just said. It sounded like that. Maybe more footage.
He said footage of our own, so maybe they got some.
Yeah, he said they did their own investigative work and that they got their own footage from the egg stuff.
That's a dark, murky world that we're talking about, and obviously, Jay, I got to ask you, and you don't have to go into any specifics. Does any of this sound familiar?
Yeah. I actually had to stop for a minute there and think, because he mentioned some stuff there where he was on mission and being used. And that's exactly how nasty it gets sometimes. And it also speaks of the other people that are out there that also are tracking these hard drives, that there's a part of the organization that actually got a hold of that before he was actually tasked to go and pick it up. So there's a lot of things to unpack there. But yeah, this sounds very typical of some of the stuff I was exposed to. Yeah.
It's a lot to process, man.
Yeah. What scares me is he's saying that they're going out on mission to achieve these things. They don't even have the proper equipment. They're just thrown like, to the fodder. Like, basically you're just dispensable. That's horrible. If you're going to do that to somebody, at least give them the proper equipment. They're just like, no, we want it at the cost of your life and your.
Feels like what happened at like Skinwalker Ranch or something, where they were like, oh yeah, just go out there and like look at stuff or something.
Honestly, that's what it is, because there's only a few people in that program, and those people are expected just to take care of that, and you got to figure it out a lot of times on your own. And I think that's a precursor to being invited into the program as you're a self-thinker. You get stuff done with zero, that kind of thing. So yeah, I can definitely detect that in this guy, that he's definitely got that kind of mentality, that survivor mentality.
I also want to point out that all the whistleblowers are bald. I've noticed everybody that comes out are
Well, now we
bald.
know. Now we know
Want to
why.
make an observation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro, he's like hunting down the guy
who's
who's like shutting him down and shit. Everybody
We
in the
need a
chat's like,
whistleblower
he's
with,
Jason
like, a great
Bourne.
head of
Like,
hair, you know?
He's like just doing disclosure by himself, like hunting down the guy who's like gatekeeping and shit.
He's a Green Beret. Of course,
Well,
he's
you
going to
gotta
hunt
think.
down the guys. Yeah, you're picking a fight with the wrong guy, right?
Yep. If all this turns out to be real, think about it, guys. That not only are there retrievals, but there are teams that are involved in these retrievals that are quite deadly. You know, think about that.
Yeah. Yes, I think we're about to come back on.
I thought we were up. They played me. I saw the logo and thought we were coming back.
Yes, I know, me too.
This is when Trump announces disclosure.
Yes, quite. If only.
Yeah,
If
that's right.
only.
Oh my God, I almost forgot. Like the inauguration's coming up. It's, Jesus.
So many people in the chat are so negative. And
People
saying
from
this isn't real.
Spain.
News Nation, Monday. The inauguration of Donald J. Trump.
Is that it? Is there more to come? Already
I'm
an hour
about to
in.
hit, about to hit 9 o'clock, so they might be wrapping it maybe after this commercial break.
I wonder if there's an after show though. They had that last time with Rush with like a bunch of people and shit.
Oh, possibly. Possibly. Well, what's everybody's
that was
thoughts?
wild.
I mean, there's mixed reactions in the chat. Some people seem very
I'm
disappointed.
watching the chat actually. I'm paying attention. I think
Well, yeah,
it's a lot.
I think playing the devil's advocate here is that, yeah, okay, we got a whistleblower, but at the same time, he's pushing his project, you know, which is kind of weird, kind of, you know, look into our project, look at what we're doing. It was more of a promotion of what he's doing after the fact, which kudos to him if he got this sort of sensation or lead to do this from somewhere else. That's great. But
What's funding that?
well, exactly. And
Yeah.
but it sort of sallies what he was just saying too about his experiences, because now you're like, well, wait a minute, we've had snake oil salesmen before in this field. So a lot of people are going to go, what the hell is that? One, the footage wasn't that great, right? People are going to always complain about the footage. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And then two, he's pushing this Skywatch program after the fact. So that is going to come back and bite them in the butt. Unfortunately, I'm just saying that 2 minutes out from it closing, but I'm just saying that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, no question.
I don't know if it is actually. Honestly, the way that they kind of framed it towards the end was sort of like a way that we possibly could study this, where people going out and doing a Skywatch, you know, like literally suiting people up. And look, I've been on Twitter when I first got on X. I was screaming like, "Yo, if you're serious about this topic and you really want to see UFOs, go out and do a CE5. Like go out and manifest it. If you go out in 10 times, go out with the real intention with the group of people, like a handful of people, and go just Skywatch for an hour and document what happens." But these people are taking it further, and they're outfitting experiencers who are saying, people who are saying, I'm having this happen frequently. And so they're bringing them out there. I think the weird part is like there's a whole program and a government program of psionic people who are like manifesting them, and they're like shooting them down with energy weapons, you know, and these guys are getting the crash retrieval. That's just like a whole nother level for the public to accept. Us, it's kind of like, whoa, we're like even kind of like, whoa, but for everybody who's just kind of on, you know, getting introduced to the topic, that's a lot to take in what that hour was about.
Yeah, that was kind of heavy to unpack. And I'll just say real quick that I'm curious because they obviously he was outfitted with something, and I would imagine that they're probably, you know, measuring certain things, pulse and such, but there's probably a lot more to it. I'm just wondering if it's because obviously he had something over his eyes. Like I use something very similar when I like want to meditate, like real heavy meditation, like block out the entire world around me and try to just be like in my mind. For anybody in the chat here that may be familiar with like the gateway experience, I'm wondering if it's anything along those lines. You know, we got to just remember we don't know what we don't know, right? Is there anything left to this? Maybe there is.
A decorated Air Force veteran, the closest man yet to an alleged UFO crash retrieval program, says he was tasked with retrieving all kinds of crashed craft, including non-human intelligence. Ross Coulthard is breaking down his exclusive special report on Prime. Plus, it's T-minus 2 days.
So I guess Ross is going to have some...
After report with Ross
some
on
words,
stuff.
yeah. But, I mean, people want to watch that, you're obviously more than welcome to. We have a lot of people here right now, which is pretty wild.
We do.
There's a lot to unpack, man. I'm like, my head's kind of swirling right now because when you research this topic, a lot of this we've heard before, but to have somebody go on national television and then talk about that is kind of intense. Yeah,
I mean, the amount of people there backing him up as well. I think the guy's credible from what I can see. I mean, yeah, we'd like better footage, but I mean, what's going to be enough for people? People in the chat, that's fine. People are disappointed by what they see, but what is enough? You've got a guy coming on with a clean background, people there supporting him. He's got UFO footage. He's telling his story. What more are people expecting? What is enough?
But I'm questioning now because he says as he's approaching a craft, he's in a helicopter, as far as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's approaching a craft. As he's a couple of miles away from it, starts getting an emotional reaction and almost like a spiritual thing. But he's going towards a craft. So now, is it the craft that's affecting him emotionally? Is it something that was in the craft, like an entity that affected him emotionally?
Right? Was it a being? Right? Or
Yeah.
was it right?
Like, what was it exactly?
Do we want to hear from Ross briefly, guys, or are we done?
Yeah, let's see what he has to say real quick. Throw it up.
He's not anxious, no. In fact, I'm quite impressed. He's one of those guys who performs well under stress while the rest of us are chewing our fingernails. What I can tell you is he's waiting to see how people respond, because there are a lot of people like him, tier 1 operators in the military, who frankly have had a guts full of the government lying to the public about this. They think it's time the public knew. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see with the caliber of people that support Jake Barber. These are top former tier 1 operators who are well known and highly respected in the JSOC community, in the Joint Special Operations Command community. They're highly well known people, hugely respected. And I think there's going to be a lead taken by these people seeing what Jake Barber has done. I think it's inevitable, frankly, that more people are going to come forward now. And I think Congress needs to wake up. It needs to decide whether it's going to properly investigate this issue, because, as Mr. Barber told us, he went to the Senate Intelligence Committee with this information and gave this information to staffers associated with one of the more prominent senators, who will, of course, now be in the new administration. And it's a real test of what the incoming Trump administration will do to see if they actually take these allegations seriously. Mr. Barber wants to be investigated. He wants to be tested. He wants Congress to put him under oath in public and test his allegations. And there are multiple people, both people you've seen in this story and people behind the scenes, who want to come forward and
talk us through it. Can you break it down for us? What makes this so remarkable?
We've known for years from reports, even those held by the US government, that there are egg-shaped craft objects that have been seen by prominent, reputable witnesses, military officials, senior scientists, and a lot of these have been seen and reported on ranges such as Area 51, China Lake, and a lot of the Los Alamos nuclear laboratories. You'll find those in the historical record. What's interesting is, for years, I've been talking to people who've been telling me that these eggs are one of the more common shapes that you see of these alleged NHI craft. And it's fascinating to finally see one on video, confirmed provenance. I'm aware of where this video has come from. It did not come, by the way, from Mr. Barber. He had absolutely nothing to do with this. It came from other sources who are aware of the recovery operations on the range and who provided with this as direct evidence of the eggs that are and routinely are being procured on the range. And I guess ultimately, people may be skeptical. I don't really care, because ultimately Mr. Barber is saying, and I've seen him do it, that they are now in a position where they can do their own summoning, and the hell with the Defence Department. They're going to go ahead with private retrievals themselves and do it as an independent commercial enterprise. They believe strongly that the public has the right to know this information, and they think if the Defence Department's going to maintain the cover-up, then let's just walk on by them and get on with it and start doing the work ourselves.
Okay, and I want to talk more about the alleged cover-up in just a moment, but one of the most shocking claims from this whistleblower, he believes he was possessed during a retrieval. Let's take a quick listen to this together.
It's by.
He's emotional here. Ross, what do you make of these claims? Because it really struck me. You even asked him in the middle of this interview, were you having a mental breakdown on the job? Do you believe that Mr. Barber is credible, that he is sound of mind?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. No, I've got no doubt at all. I mean, Mr. Barber has been running operations for a very prominent aerospace company on a very, very secure military range right up until very, very recently. I'm sure he has passed all of the scrutiny and tests that have been provided by the government to ensure that the right people are in the job. I have spoken over many years now to many people who are experiencers, particularly, interestingly enough, Tier 1 operators, people who've operated at the very elite of special forces, and not just in America. A lot of these soldiers have had these encounters, these sensations. And frankly, what's fascinating is all of them describe them as profoundly life-changing spiritual experiences. And I know people might giggle and laugh at such an idea, but I think we are on the edge, Natasha, of a profound paradigm shift in human understanding of the phenomenon. We are about, I think, to find out the full truth about what these UAPs are. I think it's inevitable. It might take months, it might take years. I suspect it's taking months. But I think eventually what we're going to find is that there is a very strong link between spiritual ideas, human consciousness, and the phenomenon of unidentified aerial phenomena. There is a definite psychic connection that is made with the phenomena, and this has been reported over many, many decades by countless thousands of witnesses. It's not a rare phenomenon. It happens all the time.
It's heady stuff, Ross, and I want to ask, because we've talked about the fact that these whistleblowers you've spoken with are not just risking their reputations. Sometimes they feel they're risking their safety as well, and I know there have been some cases, allegations, people have been killed to cover this up. Ross, who would be trying to cover this up and why?
It's quite clear from the story that we've just aired that there's been, how do we say this politely? There's been scraps, there's been fights inside these operations. I suspect it's rival private aerospace companies competing for access to technology, or perhaps factions inside those companies. But what Mr. Barber and his colleagues believe is that they were targeted either by somebody in their employer or by somebody purporting to be their employer.
Okay, I need to say something here.
As you see, we haven't gone into a lot of the detail.
First of all, if you're a helicopter dropping this down at this height, wouldn't the wind be blowing the grass? I don't see that moving. Second of all, the grass, you know what it looks like to me? Golfing grass. Like, it's all short. Look at the angle of the shadow. It's clearly coming from the side, but not really from the helicopter.
So like AstroTurf you're kind of getting at?
Yeah, like look at it. It has lines and everything as if it's manufactured. To me, that doesn't necessarily convince me of anything.
Yeah, but if they were going to fake it, wouldn't they do it just like on actual ground? You know what I mean? Like, why even do it in such a way?
Yes, and the shadow of this craft as it approaches, you'll notice the shadow is very neatly cut. Now, if this is long grass, which you would expect it to be, you wouldn't have those cuts, especially not at nighttime, and you would see the grass moving. I don't see that.
Or now you're talking about the wind.
I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Now,
but tomorrow morning, I guarantee you, there's like 50 memes of people outside with their eggs.
Oh yeah, of course, that's gonna happen.
Golf grass, like this could be easily reduplicated, and the fact there's no helicopter, like this is gonna be chewed to bits.
You're talking about rotor wash. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, well, here's the thing: if it's the only thing I can think of is that if the cable is a couple hundred feet in length or whatever they said it was, right? The only thing, like, I'm just piecing it together in my head. At camera, maybe something that's mounted lower, right, and not necessarily like zoomed in.
Yeah.
And perhaps the rotor wash, maybe they're not low enough because of the length of the cable, right? I'm throwing ideas out here because I'm not shitting on what you're saying by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't see the details in the video. I don't see the details to indicate that there was a helicopter there at all. I'm not saying that you would see a shadow. Obviously, if there's a spotlight, but if you've ever seen a helicopter, a spotlight's never really dead on. This is like a dead on spotlight. And the way that it drops down, like I said, it doesn't look like grass to me. It looks like I could probably film something very similar with my camera at low resolution with an egg, a string, and, like I said, the AstroTurf. It would be very simple to do that. Digby,
I agree.
Digby, your mic is off.
I was just going to say, let's go back to the video because we've got lots of people wanting to hear it in the chat, and we'll continue.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Because they're all terrified of offending campaign funding. What this is all about is not offending the hand that feeds you. So many politicians are compromised by defence spending, and the biggest lobby in Congress is the Defence Department and the intelligence community. And when President Eisenhower warned at the end of his administration that the military-industrial complex was a threat that needed to be reckoned with, he really did know what he was talking about. And 70 years later, it's come home to roost. Jake Barber and many other people are alleging to me that there is a cabal inside the national security complex. I suspect President Trump would call it a deep state, but the evidence of this deep state is there to be found if Congress bothers to look. And what are we voting for these political representatives for if they don't show some courage and get out there and start doing the digging that's needed? We need a public inquiry to put these witnesses in a public hearing and have them deposed and questioned under oath. And Mr. Barber is prepared to do that, and so are all of his colleagues. And the Defence Department seems to be maintaining the impression that it can just go on lying through its teeth about this, and frankly, it's time to call them out. They are lying, and it's time they were exposed.
Oh, wow. Okay, Ross, we appreciate it. I know that public interest could not be higher in this topic, and I appreciate the level to which you have continued to pursue this more than 2 years now on this specific story, and so much is unfolding every time we speak with you. Ross Coulthard, appreciate you and your reporting as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are switching gears now. We are covering your major headline.
So, right, there we go.
I'll
Sorry to cut you off there, Jason.
I want to actually throw in, because I just looked it up. It says a helicopter's rotor wash typically becomes negligible at a height roughly 1.5 times the diameter of the rotor above the ground, meaning once the helicopter is significantly higher than the rotor span, ground effect is minimal and the downwash impact on the surface below is greatly reduced. So, there's some math to do here, right? So, like, if the cable is 150 to 200 feet in length, yeah, the rotor wash wouldn't be there. But then you also have to think about, like what you were saying, Jason, about the appearance of the ground, almost looking like an artificial.
Do we know that it's grass?
Somebody said that it was gravel. I think Katie or Chris from somewhere while awake while sleeping mentioned that it was maybe gravel. So maybe I'm interpreting it as grass and it's not. I don't know.
I think because it's night vision, it's coming up as green. We're automatically thinking it was grass. I don't know if anybody.
It's not.
A little bit more.
What I was going to say is that it looks like just like soil or ground to me. And on top of that, when you talk about the measurements that can be made with somebody who's smart enough, he's already said that it was about 20 foot in diameter, so we already know about how big the egg is. So we can do some calculations off of this and at least verify, was it within the wash or outside the wash?
Right.
Because even if it's dry ground, some of that breaks loose and flies away, and I'm not seeing that either.
A lot of people in the chat saying it looks like the desert, and I would have to say I would agree with that. One question
it would have been
I have
nice if
is
they had given us a little bit more. Yeah,
if they are picking it up and that's them dropping it down, why aren't they dropping it down onto the back of a truck or a lorry or something like that for transportation?
Good point, Digby. Good point.
Why would they drop it to the ground? Because then they're going to need to lift it up again or get something else to put it. That's what I.
Maybe they were dropping it off to then transport in a truck. Didn't he? Is that?
Yeah.
No, he did say that.
Yeah,
he did say that it would.
Why wasn't it being dropped off onto the truck?
Because you could. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to.
Hey, we're speculating.
Take measurements. There's that danger of radiation. Maybe it had to be handled in a very special way because of the radiation. You know, again,
Listen,
we're
it was
all
Easter. They were dropping the egg in the grass.
Easter egg, right?
Oh,
the memes are
in the morning, sweetie. Yeah.
The memes are going to be everywhere.
It's going to be brutal. I was just,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking when I was looking at them. Like, the memes are going to be brutal. And Jason, you bring up a good point. We can do that trajectory. So if we know it's the size of about an SUV, based from the distance that we're seeing, how high up was the footage, and even the person recording it, looked like a steady hand, but what was it, off a monitor? Is this second-hand source? Like, was it filmed off a computer screen? Just because the resolution was so low. And again, I don't know if we're looking at grass, at gravel, a little bit of explanation on what we're looking at, maybe down below would be nice. And I know obviously not the location, but at least more description on what exactly are we looking at that's being deposited onto, or what happened afterwards, at least.
Yeah, I suspect the camera was mounted to the craft because, as careful as they were being, it would make sense to have sort of like that camera on the object or whatever they're picking up so that the pilot can make adjustments. So I think they're correct in that he didn't record that, but probably something like a co-pilot would have been sitting next to him with the night vision camera to show him, just like you would with the, reversing your car, the little, video pops up. So that he may have like a monitor inside that was being recorded. And I think that may be the case here. We do have a lot of work here that can be looked at, though, and scrutinized.
And he wants to be scrutinized, apparently. I say, yeah, cross-examine him in front of Congress, because that, and some official capacity that needs to happen with these matters, like in totality.
Yep, it does. It does.
And I think Congress would do well to look at the servicemen and women that have been injured. Like, go find those names.
Yes.
Because if you find all those names, you'll find out the main contractor, like you could go down, you could do your investigative work, but you have to go look at that. You have to find the people that were injured because of UAPs. Jason, have you had any physical illnesses since your encounter at all? Because some people develop diseases over time after their incidences. I'm just wondering if anything like that has happened after your experience.
There were some times that I had some mysterious sicknesses, yes. I have suffered some missing time, but I can't explain what happened there. Like I said, I have to talk to my psychiatrist and maybe dig out some of the memories that are missing there. But I got the feeling while he was saying things about the psionic and the spiritual experience, that's exactly the way I felt after my experiences inside the program. That, yeah, there were some things going on that are very, they're not talked about as scientifically because it is spiritual, but there seems to be something there that really needs to be talked about. I spoke about this with Diener recently. I've interviewed with him, and I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with him and his podcast. But we both agree that there's a spiritual side to this that we've got a lot of people in our community that state that is a reality. And I would say that from my experience, it's a reality. Sounds like this guy's saying it's a reality, but how do you prove it? That's going to be another thing that's going to be tough.
Yeah. I've just thought, just pulled this up from X to put it up and have a look at it properly. I don't think it is grass. We're getting some really hard shadows here from the formations on the ground.
It looks like desert or gravel.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a desert, rocky, especially here on the right-hand side. There's some really hard images with some really
if
hard
it's
shadows.
Night vision, it would appear green like grass, would it not?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So I think we're looking at a rocky desert scene here. But again, I really wish that they'd given us a bit more background. But maybe the people who obtained the footage were not the people that took the footage. Therefore, they don't have the full information.
Or the highest quality copy of it.
Yeah.
This might not be the highest quality version of it. And that, honestly, the first thing that really struck me when we started watching it is how bright the egg is. I described it as being almost like pearlescent in a way. That's kind of what that sounded like. And it looks like the way the light is reflecting off of it it almost looks like it's like internally illuminated, but not.
Yeah,
it's very like it's striking. Again, just initial observations. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Did you guys get the impression that perhaps the other witness that stated that the psionic individual before the craft that he was piloting encountered the other saucer, do you think that encounter is the same encounter here where this egg dropped out of the sky and they had to go pick it up later?
Kind of almost what they were. It's almost sounded like they were maybe potentially hinting at that, or I caught that vibe. Yeah. So I mean, it could be right. Like maybe I don't know though, because I didn't see and it didn't. I don't know if there was a helicopter present. There's a lot of questions here, but
Sure,
yeah. I know what you're saying, because when he said that, I'm like, so was that when you went and did that? Was it Sky Watchers? Like, because I saw they started a Twitter page today, or X page, and they're being funded by somebody.
I'm willing to bet if there's another interview with this guy, somebody needs to ask him that during that 20 miles, that's a long time to be carrying this craft under him and having this experience with it reaching out to him or something reaching out to him. I bet there was a lot more to that. I think for 20 miles that, like he said, it was very distracting. It's probably, he was getting a lot of messages, a lot of other things. And I'd really like to dig deeper on that with him if I ever encounter him or get to meet
Right.
him.
He said it was like life change. Like, to me, that's, man, there's just a lot to process, a lot to reflect on.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing to me, hearing him tell his story about when he was approaching it, is he was like, as soon as I got within a certain distance, like it was an instant spiritual consciousness connection that happened, where it was like it could have been anybody coming into like that. Takes it home a little bit more for me, because then he was like, and I instantly knew that he was piloting the craft and being able to mentally, and just like you were saying, Jason, that's actually a good question of like, okay, then you went and picked him up. Obviously, like that wasn't just the only thought that you got, but like then he also mentioned that he was like, and he was telling me like why he was doing it and why it was important that I was doing this. And so I was like, damn, like he was mentally processing this. And then he was like, I just started crying. Like I just started crying all of a sudden. So, it was that's a deep experience that someone goes through. And and so I, seeing the video, obviously the video is disappointing. People are going to be disappointed about it. But to me, the more interesting parts about this are what happened around the story. The communication changed, like all of the activity that happened after the fact that he probably had to go through from reporting and going through that. That wasn't really gone through, of like, like what people told him not to maybe say or talk about after this. And then this spiritual aspect, this psionic aspect. And what's funny is I texted dude who I thought was on the show, who I know and is a friend of mine. And damn if he wasn't on this damn show. And I was like, yo, are you seriously on this shit? He's like, yep. I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
A
couple people from UFO Twitter are on here, man. Like a couple of experiencers are on here, but we would probably all know.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. Yeah,
I believe the emotional part of it too, because that guy and tons of people were commenting it did not blink the entire interview. He was just like, no. It's like my eyes were watering just watching him. Like I wanted to blink for him, but then he got all emotional, and you could tell it was a sincere thing, because a guy doesn't go from blinking or not blinking to all of a sudden crying.
Right.
But yeah, but here's the thing, and Jason was saying the same, and a lot of other people are saying the same, that you're doing a job, you're basically hired to protect your country, but then you have this experience that's not only mind opening, but it's spiritually opening, and you end up walking away with some sort of ability or something that you were not able to do before, and all of a sudden now you can. You pick up on people's emotions. You could almost read their minds. Or like, how is that possible? This happens to servicemen and women. Again, the whistleblowers, they'll come out to tell you their testimony. Like, look, I recovered a live entity. What they don't tell you is that live entity changed them fundamentally. Yeah. And, Jason, I'm pretty sure your experience, from what a little I've been able to hear or talk with you about, but your experience, dude, that changed you hands down. Not only your career, but your entire outlook on life changes that moment. And you know, you're almost wondering if our fundamental beliefs and religion and all that comes from that, from the past, our interactions with them. And that's what builds our spiritual aspect. And maybe we're starting to gain that again, because we sure lost it in the West. You know, we're all obsessed with our technology and our entertainment, but none of the spiritual values. And then when you interact with one of them, you're like, holy, hits you like a shovel in the face, and it changes everything.
It does.
So at that point,
I would describe it. Well, I'd say also that I remember him talking about getting in proximity, and that's when he started to feel these emotions. And that's something I can definitely identify with, because that's when I would feel it as well. When you get within a certain distance, there's something there.
Yeah.
It's always there. Now, I've felt also not just a peaceful one, but I've also felt the evil side of that as well. And they exude a similar thing, but it is very evil,
interesting,
malign. And
Jason, are you saying you experienced this at the same time, like simultaneously?
No, they were two separate ones, and those were the differences. But most of mine were all very benevolent and godly, I would even say, angelic, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Very, very beautiful feelings, just like the guy said, you know, that, yeah, this is something very beautiful happened to him. And that happened to me too. I almost started crying because it made me remember. And that's something to be said. But I guess what I'm getting at is, does that mean that there is now a consciousness that we need to pay attention to, that there seems to be definitely two different factions, at least that I've experienced. One is very good and the other one is very bad. And maybe that's what's at the center of all of this. And on top of that, the last thing I want to point out is, isn't it kind of a shame that this guy had this connectedness, but he was doing a mission, and because it was a military mission, imagine what would have happened if he had just brought it home and communed with that feeling and that craft, if that's what was the case, and what kind of information. But here we are again, the military just kind of cuts that all off at the umbilical cord and just says, no, it's the mission, we take it, shut up about it, don't say a word, and that's all you get. But we might be just totally missing this beautiful contact that's out there with some of these people that do experience this. And that's my last point there.
Thanks, man. I think we're going to need to wrap this up. We are getting trolled heavily in the chat as well.
When you have this many people,
it's 2:30 in the morning.
It's going to happen.
I had to go and mention it. I'm sorry.
No, I was just thinking back to my experience, and because I've told people about it, and one of the things that comes up a lot is like, it's like, well, how did you know it was, unearthly as opposed to, some sort of black project? And I had this outside feeling that happened. I'm going to be doing like a way more detailed video about what happened to me when I was a kid, because there's some more stuff to attach to it that you guys will find out about later on that I've been looking into. But really late for Digby. This was like our biggest live stream ever.
Yeah,
this
was
crazy
awesome,
experience. Yeah, I had a good time.
Awesome.
This was
There's
a great
so
show.
much to dig into.
I think in total, I mean, we've still got 10,000 people watching us now, so I feel
pretty
bad
wild.
ending the stream.
Wow.
But I think we've had
everybody,
over 20,000 live views, which is just insane.
This
Never
is
been a
time
part
for
of
you guys
anything
to
like this.
promote your OnlyFans, okay? This is
Yeah,
way more
that's-
right here. Okay, probably got everybody on.
Have a look at the description in my video link. There's some affiliate links there. Thank you very
I look
much.
really, really good naked, I assure you. And
Ufologist feet. That's all it is. Just guess whose feet this is. Jack Valet's.
nude with orb.
with orb. I love it.
So, okay, before we go though, obviously this is pretty custom.
Views with me doing that.
What are you gonna do? So, Jason G, where can people find you and connect with you online, sir?
So UAP Studies Podcast is the podcast to look for. We're on Spotify, which is our main hub, and we sort of redid our YouTube channel about a year ago. But we've reached 6,000 already, which is amazing, because I thought it would take a lot longer than that to start resuming our numbers. But we got that. And thanks to Digby, we got Jason Sands, who will be, joining us later this month as well on the podcast. And Tom, if ever you want, come and talk to me. You know, I work with experiencers. I'd love to hear your story. Yeah,
dude,
absolutely.
I am more than happy to come on and share my story as like an episode with you guys. Yeah, that'd be great. You know, I love you guys over there. We had a great time when you were on our show. So yes, I would love to. Let's definitely get together and talk about that. I would love to do that.
Here we go. So just like to say the top videos, I just looked at my YouTube analytics. Top videos, the unofficial Jake Barber pre-show hangout, 30.8 thousand views.
Wow. Holy cow.
30.8 thousand views.
Oh my gosh.
You mean this evening?
Yes, looking in the back office, I can see the actual figures. So the figures that people are seeing live on
mascara's
YouTube
running and everything.
Are always behind. So,
got to put more wax on that beautiful mustache of yours.
Yeah, exactly.
31,000 views on my channel. Plus
that is crazy.
Plus Tom's channel, plus Tom's X account. So I think we're looking at way over 50,000 views on this episode.
Oh my gosh.
That
was an absolute blast.
Absolutely massive.
It's really cool. It's really cool to have so many people come together over an interest in a topic. And I think this is a controversial but crucial step. They entered some things into the conversation that I actually didn't expect. So that's interesting. Ross did hint at some psionic related stuff in a Reddit AMA like a few weeks ago. So I guess that's what he was referencing. But nonetheless, stuff like this makes me want to keep going because I had my experience and I want people in the world to know what's going on and I want to get to that truth.
Yeah.
Teamwork to make the dream work, right?
Me too. Yeah.
Also,
Jason, I should come on your show and talk about my abduction experience. That was a hell of a time.
Yeah, you too.
Well, what we should do is an episode where you both come on, or an episode each. Yeah, come on mine. That's what I mean. And
yeah, let's do it.
We'll talk about your experiences as well. And it's Tyler, right, from Astral?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually a pleasure hanging out with you. I see your stuff all the time on X, so it was nice hanging with you as well.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Where can they find you, Astral?
Oh, I'm gonna be on probably X later on tonight on some spaces talking about this.
Go to bed.
No, are you kidding me, bro? This is early. You know, in space life, this is like breakfast, especially with something like this. You know, it's so going to galvanize the community into different thoughts and conversation, which I think is good. But you can find me. I've got my website, theastral.com. You know what? Fun fact, I actually just built Ross Coulhart's website, rosscoulhart.com. So if you go
that's awesome.
So go check that out. Yeah, if you want to, his probably website, he's probably getting like bombarded. But yeah, I'm working with Need to Know too. So we got Jake coming in for an interview. They got Jake featured in an interview tomorrow. So if you have any questions, like I'm gonna make a post and I'll talk with you guys too. I know Jason, that was actually a really good question that you know, which I think is good. Again, we talked about it earlier in the podcast of like the community working with insiders and people who are bringing the information to directly get these questions. If we can turn around and get the biggest questions that the community has asked to these guys, you know, that's just bringing more value to what we're doing. So, man, Jason, Jay, Tom, Digby, thank you guys for having me on. Loved it, man. Anytime. Would love to come back on. And, you know, as we go through the season, Tom, we're going to get in here and Digby. So can't wait for more podcasts coming up.
Oh, yeah.
I had an absolute blast as well. We got a lot to dig through, and I hope the audience really starts to ask some good questions.
Cheers, grass Jake. Or gravel? That'll be the main question tomorrow.
Someone in the chat said. Someone in the chat says Mork lives.
Mork lives. Yeah.
I love
Nanu.
Yeah, I love that, man. I absolutely love that. But listen, before we go, I just want to say thank you all for being here with us in the chat too. Tremendous community we have out here. You get when you have this many people in a chat, obviously it's going to get a little crazy sometimes, and you know. But for the people that really wanted to be here for this, and maybe the footage wasn't so great, but I think it was another step in the right direction. And I love all of you and really appreciate it. I hit 20K on X today. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that shows us support, because that really warms my heart seeing that. It means a lot to me. Seriously, I genuinely mean that, and I love you guys deeply.
Ditto.
Congratulations, and rightfully earned, Tom.
Thank you very much. A lot of good people.
Love you all, guys. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you on the next episode of the Unidentified Anomalous podcast. Take care.
Have a good night, everybody.